פותחים בכבוד האכסניה, so we are very happy to, first of all, to thankful to הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה, to be able to receive in our קהילה, in presidential מורי ורבי הרב דוד יוסף שליטה. Thank you to Jonathan Dakmi. Where is Jonathan? He just went disappeared. Thank you to Jonathan for... Jonathan. Don't hide. Thank you so much to my friend Jonathan because he was the sarsur, the broker. That's a fancy word.
Matchmaker.
Yeah, exactly. A matchmaker. So to be able to bring him and she is Kevazat Hashem with all the Torah that he is helping us bring in Miami thanks to Ham David. You should be zoche to all the brachot min hashamayim Bezat Hashem, and a special thank you to the RG family who are receiving today, to our dear Silvan, to Ili, Bezat Hashem, that in the zechut that they have received so beautifully, Ham David and all the Chachamim, that Hashem should bless you. Your children should all be Talmidei Chachamim, in the way of the Torah, and you should see them in the chuppah properly, Bezat Hashem.
Thank you.
So I'm going to be very, very brief. Of course, we all came to hear Chacham David. And but for me, it's a very special moment. I had the zechut to learn with Rav David for 8 years in Yechavedat. Once I think Ham David was in Mexico on some trip. He met my father, and I was still in yeshiva. I was still single in Kol Torah, 1997, and then I don't know what they said to each other. Really, I still don't know, but bottom line is that my father came to me and he said, that's it. You're going to start learning in Yechavedat. And I started with Rav Dan ben Moshe, if the Rav remembers.
Yeah.
With Rav Dan ben Moshe, Ilchot Shabbat, Ilchot Mukse, and from then, Baruch Hashem, after I got married and everything, I had the tremendous zechut. It makes all the difference in the world. If not for the institutions like Yechavedat, where there is true Torah that is being learned, we would be nothing. Everything that we have, it comes from there. I've met other people, who don't have the zechut to go to a true yeshiva, to a true Makom Torah, and the Torah is not the same. You don't get to learn from the same Rabbanim, and especially for us, our Keilah, we are a Sephardi Keilah, although we have many beautiful Ashkenazim, but in essence we are Sephardi, and we follow the path of Rabbi Yosef Zatzal, and of course Rabbi Tzchak and Ham David. So for us, this is our path, this is our derech, and it's very exciting to have him over here with us. And Bezat Hashem, we should be zoche to have him every time now, Jonathan, every time that he comes to Miami, that's it. He has to come to us. Our Keilah, Chacham, it's a growing Keilah. A year ago, we were still in a living room, and Baruch Hashem, today, Mishkan, it's on the way. Yetziat Mitzrayim, it's getting Bezat Hashem to Eretz Israel. But Bezat Hashem, it's a Keilah that has a lot of Torah, a lot of, aside for Tefillot, there's Daf Yom in the mornings, there's Kinyan Masechta in the evenings, there's a lot of Torah, and Bezat Hashem, we should have more. Lechavot. RG, Silvan RG. Shlomo Meir.
שלמה מאיר. אוקיי. פותחים בכבוד אכסניה, first of all, בעל הבית. שלמה מאיר, יהי רצון שישמע מבית זה כל ששון וכל שמחה, כל חתן וכל כלה. תמיד יהיו שמחות בביתכם. תזכו שהבית הזה יהיה בית שתמיד יארח תורה, מצוות ומעשים טובים. תצליחו בכל מעשה ידיכם. אמן כן יהי רצון. Okay. My dear friend, Harav Niso Palti, the Rabbi of the community. Be'ezrat Hashem, later I will talk about him. Now I want to talk about the parasha. In our parasha, Hashem appointed a leader for Am Yisrael. Hashem appointed a leader, the first leader of Am Yisrael, and he was first, and until now we never had a leader like him, Moshe Rabbeinu. All the history of the world, there was no one like Moshe Rabbeinu. He was a prophet more than all the prophets. He was Gadol Batorah, Talmid Chacham, more than all of them. he was the best with midot. והאיש משה ענב מאוד. He was humble. Any category, you look at Moshe Rabbeinu, number one of Am Israel during all the generations. But Hashem appointed him, of course, because he was smart, he was good, yeah. But we have to look at the Pesukim and to find the reason. What was the point that the moment Hashem decided he will be the leader? What was the reason at that moment? We can see that the first time Hashem appeared to Moshe Rabbeinu, it was with the sneh, the bush, small bush. Moshe Rabbeinu saw it burning, and it didn't burn. So Moshe Rabbeinu said, it's very strange. הסנה בוער באש, הסנה איננו קל. So he said, I want to see. אסור ענה ואראה. The pasuk said, וירא השם כי שר לראות, ויקרא אליו השם. The meaning of the pasuk, because he went to see, because of that, Hashem started to talk to him. And it was the first time Hashem was talking to him, and Hashem spoke with him about to be a leader. Hashem told him, I want you to be the leader. We have to understand. If someone wants to see something nice, something special, unusual, he is curious. To be curious is the nature of the people. They are curious. Sometimes to be curious, it's not nice. You look at the house of your friend. It's not allowed. It's very bad. And sometimes it is allowed. You are curious to look. Okay, look. Here it was, of course, allowed, but it's not a special thing that Moshe Rabbeinu wanted to see what happened. No, and the pasuk said, "Vayar Hashem kisar lirot." It means if he didn't, Hashem would not appear to him, only because of that. So why? The Midrash speak about that. The Midrash said it's a wrong explanation to say that Vayar Hashem kisar liot, Hashem saw that he came to see Moshe, because of that Hashem appeared to him. The Midrash said the explanation Vayar Hashem kisar lirot, Hashem saw Moshe many times, kisar lirot, he was watching what is happening to Am Israel, Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe Rabbeinu grew up in a palace of Paro. He never was hungry, he never suffered. He was a son of a king. He had anything he wanted. He was like a prince. And at that time, slaves, people, even in the United States, 160 years ago, people didn't go together in train with not white people. Yes, until now, some places, at that time, slave, I will talk to slave, I will go next to slave. No, everyone, slave is slave. So Am Israel were, all of them, slaves. And Moshe Rabbeinu was not a regular man. He was son of a king. He was a prince. And he knew he's Jewish. And when he saw what happened to Am Israel, the Midrash said he came. He was crying. He said, my brothers, I'm very sad about you. Tsar li alechem. I agree to die instead of you. And my brothers, please, let me help you. And he was walking with Am Israel. He went to each one, let me help you. Vayar Hashem kisar lirot, when Hashem saw this thing, he cares about his brothers. He doesn't say it's not Hashem. He could pray. That's it. What can he do against Paro? Paro was a dictator, strong. It was dangerous. It happened in the end. He had to run away from him because he killed the Egyptian. So he had to run away. But he didn't say it's not my business. I cannot do anything. I pray. It's enough. If someone comes to a rabbi, he is sick. The rabbi is not a doctor or nothing. What he wants from the rabbi? To pray. So he can pray. But Moshe Rabbeinu, no. He was crying. He didn't care about what people see him, what they think. And he was helping each one of Am Israel. And when he saw the Egyptian hitting Jew, he killed him. ויך את המצרי ויטמנהו בחול. So he felt responsibility. He was care about Am Israel. But also, we have to understand another point. Usually, if someone grew up without any needs, everything he wanted he had, and he was happy all the time, he cannot understand the others that they suffer. Yeah, there is a famous story about Marie Antoinette. You know, Marie Antoinette was the queen of France. She was a daughter of the emperor Maria Theresa. Maria Theresa was an emperor of Austria. And she had 16 children. And one of them was Marie Antoinette. When she was, I think, 16, something like that, she got married with Louis the 16th. And in the end, she died. They cut her head with the guillotine. Her husband and her. So, but before, she was very spoiled woman. And she used to make every night party. Big party. In Versailles. She lived in Versailles and she was celebrating every night, and it cost big money. Celebration of a queen, it was very big, and she invited her friends, all the prince and princess, all of them. So she needed money for that. She got the money. She put tax on people. People had to pay. So people were starving in France, and she didn't care. And her husband also. He was a very weak king. So there is a story, I don't know if it is truth or not, but it was a demonstration next to the palace. And people, thousands of people came, and they were shouting, bread, bread, bread. She went outside, and she said, you don't have bread, eat cakes. Eat cakes. She didn't understand. אין השבע מרגיש בצערו של הרעב. If someone is full, is not hungry, he cannot feel, he cannot understand what is the meaning to be hungry. I heard a story from my father. How long can I talk?
Shabbat.
Video.
Okay, Rabotai. I heard a story from my father. In Poland, there is a big city, Lodz. They had a chief rabbi, very special rabbi, Rabbi Eliyahu Chaim Meisel. He was Gadol Batorah, and also he was a leader of the community. So the rabbi, once, midnight, he was going in the street, next to the synagogue from the time of the Gemara. People used to build synagogue, and next to it, place for guests. They called it for guests, but it was for poor people. Poor people, they had place to stay next to the synagogue. Until now, I saw some places in Venezuela. I saw one synagogue like that. Next to it, for people they don't have any place to stay, they can come. So the rabbi was going in the street and he saw the place of the guests, the poor people, no windows. It was broken, all the windows. And it was snow, very cold. And the rabbi looked from the window, he saw many poor people sleeping on the floor. And most of them, they didn't have something to cover themselves. And the heater was no woods, nothing. And they were shaking inside. So the rabbi looked at that, he started to cry. Jewish people in our community like that. Immediately, midnight, he went to the house of the richest man in the community. His name was Vysotsky. He had the factory Vysotsky tea. Until now, his great-grandchildren, they have that Vysotsky until now. I don't know if it belonged to the family, but he established tea Vysotsky. So the rabbi went to his house, and the rabbi saw the light was on. It means he is awake. The rabbi knocked the door, and the man was at his office in the house, and he had pyjama, only pyjama, and next to him it was a heater, it was warm, very good, pleasure. He was checking his papers, and suddenly someone knocked the door. The servant opened the door and told him, the rabbi came, the chief rabbi. Wow, the rabbi came, he jumped, he ran to the door, and he said, "Oh, Rabbi, welcome, welcome." It was cold, came cold from outside. And the rabbi said, yeah, you know, it's not time for visit now, midnight. It's not good time to visit. But I saw light in your house, so I wanted, by the way, to ask you a short question, so few seconds. And the rabbi asked him a question, and he was shaking. He said, "Rabbi, I think like this." "No, I don't agree with what you said." The rabbi started to make conversation. And he said, "Please, Rabbi, maybe we can continue inside. Rabbi, it's cold here." No, I have to go, it's late. Just a few seconds more. And the rabbi talked 6-7 minutes, and the man and then he said, "Rabbi, what do you want? You want to kill me? What do you want from me?" So Rabbi said, "Okay, now I will enter." The rabbi entered, sat next to him, and told him, he started to cry, "Look, our brothers, they are suffering. No windows, no heater, no cover, no beds." He heard and he said, "Rabbi, how much you think it will cost?" The rabbi said, "I calculated it. I think we need 3,000 rubles. It's big money. 3,000 rubles. The man immediately opened his checkbook. 3,000 rubles. Like, "Thank you, Tiskele Mitzvot." And he said, "But Rabbi, I have a question to ask you. Why did you do that to me? Why? You could enter, you could say, I need 3,000 rubles, and you will get the money. Why? You said you came because of another reason, you talked to me next to the door like that." The rabbi said, "I want to tell you why. Suppose I enter, I ask you about that, you will say, yes, you need 3,000. Okay, but I am not the only one rich in the city. There are many rich people. I will give you 300 or maybe maximum 1,000, and all the rest go collect. Well, it's not everything I have to pay." So because of that, I wanted you to feel a little like what they feel, the poor people. After you tasted it, now no question, you gave me all the money. Okay? It means if someone doesn't feel any need, he doesn't need anything, he doesn't feel what is the meaning to be in need, to be needed. So Moshe Rabbeinu, he didn't need anything. He was a prince, like I said. And He was care about Am Israel. That and only that was the reason Hashem appointed Moshe Rabbeinu to be the leader. He was smart, of course. He was tzaddik, of course. He was humble, but not because of that reasons Hashem appointed Moshe Rabbeinu. Only because he felt responsibility about Am Israel. So Rabotai, now I am in Miami last 5 years. I come almost every year except the time of the Corona, but most of the time I come. Every time I come here, I go. I came Monday. Until now, I made maybe 30 shiurim, 30 places I went. And I see the situation here. From one side, Baruch Hashem, Torah is developing. Your community, it's new community. It's new community. It's very good for many people. They didn't belong to any community before. Now it's new. They have an address for learning Torah, for praying, community. But we have to think about all the rest of the people. They still don't have any community, and many people, they don't have even connection to any community. You know, I was many years ago in Venezuela. I was there a few times. It was beautiful community, big, and people belonged to the community. After what happened in Venezuela, I think maybe most of them came to Miami. Most of them, yeah. But many that came to Miami, they get lost. We are losing them. Next generation, Has v'Shalom, no, not long time. Next generation, they will not be Jewish anymore, because they are not religious enough, and many, they are not religious at all. They don't know anything, they don't care about anything, and Has v'Shalom, we are losing them. So Baruch Hashem, you have community with a special rabbi. Rabbi Niso Palti. He was learning in Yehaveh Da'at. He told you just he was learning, but you have to know, when he came to Yehaveh Da'at, he was very young, but he worked very, very hard. He was learning day and night, all the time, learning. He has knowledge, he's big Talmid Chacham. He has knowledge. I think in this city he is from the top rabbis with knowledge. You know, also he is Dayan. I remember when he was learning, he took 6 months that he came only half a day to Yehaveh Da'at. In the morning he used to go to Bedin. Every day he was sitting with the Bedin. He learned to make Gittin. He learned everything. Hoshen Mishpat, Even Ha'ezer, big Talmid Chacham. And also when he was in Mexico, he was in San Diego, and here also, all the time he is learning Torah. He is continue learning. He is the best speaker. In any category you look at him, he is a perfect rabbi. And he cares about people like Moshe Rabbeinu. He wants to bring people. He wants to teach. He loves to teach. So I think, Rabotai, everyone has responsibility to bring more people to that community. People from Venezuela, the language, it's Spanish. It's a synagogue that almost everybody speaks Spanish. So people will feel comfortable. They will feel a second home, it will be for them. And they will be happy to belong to that community. So please, Rabotai, everyone has to think about that. To bring his friends, to bring people that he knows they are not religious. The rabbi told me that almost all the community, they are religious. I was not happy to hear that. Yeah. Because religious people, they will find place to pray. They will find place to study. So of course it's very, very important for them to be with a big rabbi, Talmid Chacham, like Rabbi Niso Palti. But about the rest we have to think, about our brothers. Like Moshe Rabbeinu, he was care about his brothers. We have to be care. And Be'ezrat Hashem, next year I will come, I will see, I don't know what will happen, but I pray for you. You will build big synagogue. You will have more and more people, Be'ezrat Hashem. It will be until Mashiach will come. Then with your synagogue, you all will go to Eretz Israel. Bekarov, Amen. Ken yeh ratzon.